Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your reliable destination for truthful insight and verified updates on Iraq's economic transformation, currency prospects, and what they could mean for you. On the current date in the USA, we bring forward a critical topic that's making serious waves throughout the dinar community. If you hold Iraqi dinar and are anticipating a future exchange, what you're about to hear could determine whether you'll be able to complete that transaction or be left scrambling when the moment finally arrives. There's growing chatter suggesting that not every U.S. financial institution is approved to handle Iraqi dinar redemptions. That's right, your bank might not be among the select few permitted to conduct IQD exchanges. This revelation is shifting the conversation from speculation about a potential revaluation to something more immediate and actionable. Which banks in the United States are officially authorized to exchange Iraqi dinar, and which ones are not? This update has sent ripples of both hope and concern across IQD holders nationwide. Based on the latest reports, only a narrow segment of banks in the U.S., mainly large internationally integrated ones, have received authorization to conduct IQD exchanges in accordance with federal regulations. These institutions meet comprehensive standards for compliance, anti-money laundering enforcement, and global financial oversight. This approval isn't granted lightly. Most community-level banks, local branches, and credit unions do not yet possess the licensing or infrastructure necessary to process IQD redemptions. If your current plan involves taking your dinar to a nearby branch on the day of revaluation, it's essential that you first verify that the bank is recognized as an eligible exchange provider. Many investors have spent years acquiring currency in hopes of future gains, but only now is attention turning to the reality of who can legally carry out the exchange. The U.S. government's focus is on transparency, accountability, and the prevention of illicit financial activity. Every dinar transaction will likely be documented, taxed, and audited to ensure compliance with federal standards. That's why only institutions capable of adhering to such stringent requirements are being cleared for participation. If your current financial institution isn't on the list, you may need to reconsider your exchange strategy altogether. The responsible next step is simple but vital. Contact your bank directly. Ask if they maintain a foreign currency desk and whether the Iraqi dinar is on their supported list. If the answer is no, don't assume things will change overnight. Many regional banks are not seeking authorization and may choose not to participate even if revaluation occurs. That means you may need to transfer your focus, and potentially your funds, to a larger institution with global capabilities and legal clearance. Bigger names in banking, especially those with established foreign currency divisions, are the most likely candidates to receive clearance. These institutions often have branches equipped to handle international currency, regulatory protocols, and identity verification procedures. By contrast, smaller banks may be left behind, not out of neglect, but because the logistical and compliance demands are simply too great for their current operations. There's another layer to this issue that's been overlooked. Just because a bank has the licensing doesn't guarantee they'll begin exchanges immediately after a revaluation is announced. Many will wait for regulatory confirmation, official rate guidance, or clearance from the Treasury. That means you could be looking at a delay even if your bank is on the list. Having a relationship with the right institution ahead of time can significantly shorten your wait and reduce potential stress. Our inbox has been filled with questions about whether digital banks or online-only platforms will take part in this process. In most cases, the answer appears to be no, at least not in the immediate aftermath of any revaluation. Online financial services generally lack the physical infrastructure, in-person ID checks, or legal certifications to manage physical currency exchanges, especially those tied to foreign currencies like IQD. Some IQD holders are looking to international solutions. The question arises, can you go overseas to exchange dinar if U.S. options are limited? Technically, yes. In some parts of Europe and the Middle East, Iraqi dinar is listed for trade. However, the regulatory protections, tax structure, and exchange rates can vary wildly. For American citizens, dealing within the U.S. banking system remains the safest and most straightforward option. That brings us to taxation. There's a dangerous misconception floating around that currency exchange profits are untaxed. This is false. If you exchange dinar for US dollars and make a profit, that gain is treated as taxable income. In many cases, it qualifies under capital gains. Financial institutions handling the exchange will report large transactions to the IRS, meaning your activity is not going unnoticed. If you expect a significant return, now is the time to speak with a licensed tax advisor. Preparing for taxes in advance can help you avoid serious financial consequences later. Unfortunately, with all the buzz, misinformation and fraud are also on the rise. Numerous Telegram groups, questionable websites, and unregistered dealers are claiming they offer exclusive rates or access to early exchanges. These are almost always scams. Never hand over your IQD to any individual or entity that isn't officially licensed, insured, and regulated. The risk isn't just financial, it could compromise your personal identity, banking details, or even expose you to legal consequences. Some rumors speak of private redemption centers offering better rates than banks. While this sounds appealing, there has been no confirmation from regulatory authorities to back up these claims. Unless official communications are issued by your financial institution or federal agencies, it's safest to treat such offers as speculative and unverified. When your money is on the line, there's no room for guesswork. You may now be wondering, what's the best plan of action moving forward? Start by identifying institutions with global currency desks and researching whether they're engaged in foreign exchange for IQD. Open communication with your financial provider will offer clarity and direction. Don't wait until the system is overwhelmed. Prepare before the crowd rushes in. As we continue from where we left off, let's now turn our attention to what may actually happen on the day a revaluation is announced, assuming that day arrives. Based on patterns from other historical currency events, redemptions are unlikely to be a walk-in process. Most experts agree that if a revaluation does take place, it will unfold in organized phases, beginning with a formal announcement, followed by carefully managed exchanges at approved banks. You should prepare for the possibility that appointments will be required. This would likely include pre-screening, identity verification, authentication of the physical currency you possess, and possibly even background checks for larger transactions. In short, expect a structured, time-sensitive rollout rather than a chaotic rush. Having a direct line of communication with a compliant institution will make navigating this process significantly easier. There is also talk about what kind of documentation you may need to present. Beyond basic identification, some banks may require proof of dinar origin, such as receipts, certificates of purchase, or transaction records. This is especially true for holders with large volumes of IQD. The goal is to prove that the currency was obtained legally and to prevent bad actors from flooding the system with counterfeit or smuggled notes. You should gather and securely store any documentation you have related to your IQD acquisition now, before the window opens. There has been renewed attention to foreign currency policies in the United States in recent months, and some of that focus comes from unexpected quarters. Several political figures, including former President Trump, have made statements suggesting renewed interest in domestic monetary policy and global exchange positioning. While former President Trump has not made a direct declaration about the Iraqi dinar, his emphasis on restoring American financial leverage and tightening international trade has reignited speculation within the IQD community. Some interpret this as a signal that broader monetary shifts could be in motion. But, as always, speculation is not confirmation. Still, former President Trump's reappearance in currency discourse has encouraged many IQD holders to stay closely tuned to U.S. Treasury announcements, Federal Reserve activity, and geopolitical negotiations tied to oil, trade, and the Middle East. Even if nothing immediate happens, sentiment can influence bank policies, investor behavior, and even timelines for currency reevaluation. Meanwhile, one of the most common mistakes we continue to see is people assuming that because they hold IQD, everything else is automatic. That's not the case. You are still responsible for setting up your accounts, vetting your bank, documenting your holdings, and understanding your tax obligations. No one else will do that for you. Preparation doesn't begin at the bank. It begins now, while there's still time to get everything in order. Let's talk a little more about the exchange process. Even among banks that are authorized, the actual logistics of the exchange may vary. Some may limit the number of daily appointments, prioritize certain customers, or require pre-enrollment in their foreign currency services. You may even be required to open a special account, especially if the transaction value crosses a certain threshold, say over $10,000, 0 cents, or $50,000, 0. Such transactions are automatically reported to the IRS and flagged for compliance review. This is normal, but again, it's something most holders haven't planned for. Once you've completed an exchange, the next issue is access. Will you have immediate access to the funds, or will there be a holding period? Some institutions may place temporary holds to verify notes, especially if the redemption is large. It's smart to ask these questions now. How long will it take for funds to clear? What paperwork will you receive? Will your gains be taxed immediately, or are you responsible for reporting them later? These are practical but crucial questions, and the answers can vary widely depending on your chosen bank. Let's also address the noise around Tier 1 versus Tier 2 exchanges. Online chatter often separates people into categories based on wealth, banking relationships, or platform access. While some believe Tier 1 customers might receive better rates or faster access, there is no official documentation supporting this idea. The truth is, in any regulated financial rollout, equal access is a priority, especially under U.S. law. That means everyone, from the high net worth investor to the everyday saver, should eventually have access to the same rates, assuming they follow legal channels. Still, timing can matter. If exchange appointments become limited, those who act early and have done their homework may be positioned more favorably. If nothing else, they'll avoid long wait times and unnecessary stress. That's why, if your bank is already preparing for currency exchanges, now is the time to schedule an appointment, even if it's just informational. Ask questions, get on their radar, establish a clear paper trail. Be the person they remember when the moment comes. As we near the end of today's update, let's recap the essentials. Not every bank will be participating in IQD redemptions. Only a narrow selection of globally compliant, federally regulated financial institutions are expected to facilitate exchanges. Smaller banks, credit unions, and digital services may not qualify. Contact your financial institution and ask them the hard questions. Don't wait for the headlines to tell you what's already been decided behind closed doors. Keep records of your IQD purchases and consult a tax advisor to prepare for capital gains obligations. Avoid Telegram groups, unverified online forums, and private exchange offers that aren't sanctioned by official banking systems. If you've heard of private redemption centers, treat them with extreme caution unless you've received communication from a confirmed and regulated source. And finally, stay grounded. A revaluation, if it happens, will likely be managed, organized, and possibly phased. Prepare for ID checks, appointment systems, and verification protocols. The time to prepare is not after the announcement, it's now. Thank you for staying connected with Iraqi Dinar News. We appreciate your trust and your commitment to seeking real facts over rumors. If you found this update useful, share it with others in the Dinar community, and make sure you're subscribed for more verified insights delivered straight to you. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay prepared for what could be one of the most important financial transitions of your life.